Hello. I guess I'll be the first to say good morning. How you doing? Kushti, good morning. Joe, good morning.
Hello guys. Good day, how are you?
Waking up,
Hanging in
but
there.
good.
So, pleasure to be here again. And now we have superstar team. So Joe is with us again.
Nice hat, Joe.
Yeah, it's good to be back. It's good to be back. Time change makes these rough in winter where it's like 6 a.m. So I don't think people necessarily want to hear me talk at 6 a.m. to be honest, but 7, I can have a little bit more coffee, be a little bit more awake. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been on one of these, so I hope we have some good questions today. What's new on you? What's new on your end, QX?
I've been working a lot on infrastructure. Somehow I got roped into that.
Fun.
So we had a big crash on one of the main servers. And so we migrated some things like Sigmaverse, like Ergo docs to another server. And then we redid the front end when the other server came back up. In the meantime, we had redirected it to my backup Explorer here. But now it's back to normal again. Everything's back to normal. I tried to bring up an old load balancer, one of the 4, and I thought I was successful until I wasn't. So we put it down. We said a little prayer for it, gave it a little encouraging messages that it had been a good little machine for a while, and that it enjoys its nap. And we put that in the console, and then I shut it down, and Kushti nuked it. So that poor little guy.
Maintenance on your side.
Yeah. So infra's back up, doing well. We have looking through it, we have quite a bit actually. We have a load balancer that balances like APL and GraphQL and those kind of things. So, one machine's not hitting it hard. But we also have backups that are individual. Like we have my AEP Cornell one here at Cornell. We have my backup one in Singapore as well. So there's a lot of single direct options as well as the load balancer options. I think we're really prepared for an influx of traffic. So we should be good when that happens. Plus we have things like not Sigmaverse, but Sigma Space Explorer, which is really cool, and we have Ergo Explorer, which is neat as well, that people can put into their wallets. So when they click on transaction, it'll take them through to those a little more readable than the original Explorer. But yeah, infra's looking good. Getting a hang of it, getting on track.
Nice.
Kushti, what's new for you? People still talking about sub blocks a lot, as well as the chain cache has been coming up a bit in chat as well.
So we'll jump on the chat right after the call, and a lot of things going on as now there are more developers contributing, so I'm reviewing stuff from like 4 developers like daily, and also doing my own stuff. So for subblocks, basic structures, forks resolution, and so on done. So I am now planning peer-to-peer layer. We'll do some write-up on that to justify decisions made. So it's about some trade-offs. Do you want to have faster propagation, for example, in the exchange of more traffic being transferred, right? Or maybe you want to have more smaller messages instead, right? With some smarter loads. But a lot of trade-offs here, right? But especially as we have a peer-to-peer network. But yeah, that's what to do and justify decisions made. Then also preparing 6.0 for miner swatting. So well, the audit is going well, and the Rust counterpart is getting in sync with the reference implementation of the interpreter of contracts. Yeah, well, I think in next few days we need to decide on the date of proposed miners voting and set it into the client, and then yeah, well, inform miners so they will vote on the 6.0 soft fork against. Then what? Yeah, so for Chaincash, I've done a paper. Well, it's more or less done now. Yeah, going to publish it on some preprint server. And then yeah, we'll announce a link, and yeah, also going to send it to some peers in Hong Kong. We discussed the need for such stuff and so on, and yeah, a lot of other things going on under the hood. And yeah, well, there were also a couple of releases of frameworks used for the contractual interpreter and the node. So now they're updated with Scala 3 support, and yeah, well, the nodes update for Scala 3 support is also coming. And yeah, well, also discussing a lot of stuff these days in regards with well, structuring efforts and scaling them up. So there will be some announcements in regards with that in coming weeks. And yeah, well, after Chaincash, I think the next big piece to sketch is about off-chain contracts, right? There is a big possible range here from initial observations. So it's not just Lightning, right? Or well, federated. Well, state update system like Hydra. There are like tens other options. Then what's needed, I think, is just to outline them and then to find like field partners, real world use cases, right? To well, implement things towards real world needs, and not vice versa, like happened with Lightning Network, right? When first they had tech, then implementation, then discovered that the tech is not quite suitable for use cases it was promoted for. And now, well, the Lightning Network industry is basically spending billions on reworking Lightning into something different from the original intent. So I think, well, it's not the proper way in 2025, so we have already enough tech knowledge to go from the real world needs, right, and propose some design which would have desired properties in regards with capital efficiency, trustlessness, efficiency, privacy, and so on. Right. So yeah. In short, in very short, a lot of things going on, and yeah. Well, there are some more things what's being discussed right now, well, in regards with real-world assets tokenization and so on. Maybe we will have some guests in upcoming MAs, to go through such topics specifically. Well, and about AMAs and other forms of community engagement, I think we will continue to try different formats, right? So spaces, community town halls, AMAs. So I don't know, QX, do you have an idea what do we do in 1 week? QX, yeah.
We got some good participation. I think the best participation we've gotten, at least not in maybe direct at the time of, but the best immediate watch viewership, are the Zooms, where we Zoom, and the Zoom that we broadcasted to YouTube and Twitter, and Twitch actually seem to do pretty well.
All right.
So that's my preference. Spaces really feels, I don't know. Spaces feels like I'm talking into a dark room, and and you know, who knows if people are listening or responding or that kind of thing. It's a tough thing, you know. Like Spaces, I could see is useful when we're talking to, you know, 5,000 people and they want to listen in, kind of thing. But what we're doing with community town halls, I feel like the Zoom's a really good option, because we can, people that don't want to be in it, they can stay out of it and just watch it on YouTube and Twitter, kind of thing.
Okay, so maybe Spaces would be useful for dialogue with some people from outside the...
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
And yeah, actually, I have some candidates. So yeah, then we can continue to try all the 3 formats, right? So yeah, let's see what will we have in 1 week. But yeah, yeah, and concluding, so yeah, a lot of things going on, a lot of things being cooked.
What about Joe? Oh,
yeah,
sorry, go for it.
Yeah, sorry, the last updates, but not the least. So Dexy UI, the second UI, actually, is available now for public test. So visit Dexy Gold Telegram group and get a link there. So yeah, it's a test for the public testnet deployment. So you need for Nautilus testnet. And yeah, you also need for some testnet ergs, but other than that, yeah, well, it's pretty much smooth experience, at least on my side. So yeah, please try also. And yeah, well, we are going to mainnet deployment with that. Finally, with the second UI.
That's C8 that did the UI for that.
Sorry?
That was C8 that did the UI for that?
C8, yeah.
I tell you guys, Oracle 2 is fantastic. The only time I have to look at it is when I run out of ergs. And that only happens like once every 6 months, because I only put a couple ergs in it. But it is a rock solid tool, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, and so after Dexy launch, so the next things are, well, Oracle pool updates. I mean, USD 1 to version 2, right?
Looking forward to that one, Kushti.
And then, yeah, so yeah, it's actually a huge pain to maintain that old pool at the moment. So yeah, we need to update, and then we can proceed with Dexy USD, Gleon USD, and then yeah, we can also try silver, but yeah, that's Joe to be asked about. Then lithium and so on, right? So yeah, well, a lot of ergs going to be locked. Hopefully in all those contracts and so on. Yeah, so exciting times ahead in regards with derivatives as well. All right, I'm done with it. Yeah, enough updates probably.
All right, Joe. Joe, let's hear. How's Rosen going? I saw that you got a little doji yesterday in your tweet.
Yeah. I mean, right now it's Nowruz, so part of our team is on, holiday. It's family time for them, so that always puts a little bit of
Wait,
friction. But
you let your team take breaks, Joe? Unlike Dan,
oh
who
yeah,
makes them work all the time.
no, I'm not like Dan. I'm a lot easier, to be honest. Like family first, like those type of things. I don't know. So it makes life, have quality. So I hope I
Right,
hope
right.
my team enjoys their break, enjoys family time, all of that. Yeah, those just coming together, which is exciting. Because one of the efforts, kind of in parallel with Doge integration, has been trying to expand the documentation and kind of onboarding kit, right? So we're hoping that we have greater depth for like an external like chain or team that says, hey, I want to kind of build into this bridge. Well, cleaner documentation, more thorough kind of I don't know, kind of code review in terms of how and what is needed is really important and appreciated, right? Because I think at some point, I don't know, 2 years ago, we were kind of on the other side of that when we were exploring Wormhole and other bridge frameworks. So we have integrated the Doge integration into the Watcher package. The guard integration is under kind of the final PR review. We're updating the UI in parallel. And are going to have some new logic filtering for the UI, so that's going to get cleaner. And being that Nautilus has hit the big update, version
Gorgeous.
1.
Beautiful.
Yeah, which is gorgeous. For me, that means, okay, it's time for us to rotate Rosen a little bit and start putting together an SDK for wallet integration. So if you use like Phantom or MetaMask or those type of wallets, oftentimes you find the bridge itself is kind of integrated into your wallet, right? It's not some external site that you visit. Now, that's something that MHS and I had talked about and say, okay, well, initially let's build some trust. Let's get ecosystems hooked together. And to some degree, having that type of SDK is always like somewhat of a risk that you can have like fake, I don't know, fake implementations where it's like you interact with something that says it's Rosen Bridge and then it's not. Like that makes it a little bit easier. So there's always some like friction there that people need to pay attention to, like where they're using. But putting that open SDK together is awesome because then you can get DApp integration, wallet integration, a lot of kind of unique toys, tools that can kind of expand our footprint. Seeing Nautilus come out is a big step forward. So that was awesome. Finally, this is a long road, but really quite valuable, I think. Then I've been putting together some like content for this like community document book on Ergo that Kushti, others, and have been kind of thinking about for quite some time. Other than that, I don't know. Still winter here, man. I'm ready for spring, and so I always get a little bit antsy at the end of winter. So you see me posting more random ideas, and I don't know, having a little extra energy that I don't know what to do with until it warms up and I can get outside.
You've been very prolific on Medium, Joe, with your articles and your tweets and that kind of thing. It's good to read your stuff.
That's part of that, man. It's like cabin fever symptom.
You still have a lot of snow out there? 6 feet? 5 feet?
Yesterday it was snowing a bit here, and windy.
Wow.
At some point, winter's gonna break, but we're not quite there yet. Colorado, we have like 5 false springs where it's like super warm, and you're like, finally, it's time, and then you wake up one day and it's not time.
So Joe, Nautilus is eventually moving to mobile, correct?
Mhm. Yeah.
So
Nautilus has had a lot of things happening behind the scenes where, it's kind of been reworked to where the framework can support multi-chain integration. Um, it's been refactored to where it can be ported, to different environments. Like these are things that, I don't know, on the front end you don't really notice, but in terms of like the back end capacity, it's a different animal than it was, like in previous versions. So it's something that has been kind of refactored, redesigned, re-engineered to where it can be built on. And that's big for us, especially as we have like the Rosen integration where we can potentially add some of the chains that Rosen supports. Um, I believe Minotaur is pretty much in parallel, a little different, but having like those is like a foundation, puts us in a position where it's like, okay, it's time to consider an SDK, right? And expand the footprint, and really start to take this base infrastructure that we've built and grow. And after Doge, then it's like, okay, well, we now have built on Bitcoin and fork of Bitcoin, and it's been a while since I've been on one of these, so probably Binance Smart Chain wasn't discussed by me anyway. So we have Ethereum and then a fork of Ethereum, right? And you have all of these different layers of Ethereum and forks of Bitcoin around, and those are more or less lower hanging fruit, right? Because you don't have to really redesign a lot. It's more just adapting to different conditions and environments, and then it's like, okay, well, we have Bitcoin forks around. Bitcoin Cash is a pretty big community, and to some degree, I would say is a lot more interesting than kind of the mass consciousness of the Bitcoin community anymore, at least to me. Then you also have these different layers of Ethereum and, increasingly like new EVM layer ones that are kind of retooled a little bit. That's always its own space that grows extremely rapidly. It's sometimes even hard to track. But there's a lot of potential endpoints, right? And one of the unique things that Rosen offers is like taking non-compatible environments that usually don't interact, right? There's a ton of EVM to EVM bridges out there, but I think that having, I don't know, exotic endpoints, you could call it, different proof of work footprints. Longer term, I think privacy projects would be awesome to see because they, oftentimes have even more, let's say, I don't know, resistance from centralized exchanges. So, giving them a place where they can be used as collateral for DeFi and, potentially plug into some of the open frameworks. I don't know, like you could, pretty soon you could create, a Doge stablecoin on Ergo if you wanted to. I don't know, what are you going to tie it to? Costco hot dog.
Hey, that is
Something.
actually right. The chicken and the hot dog. Yeah, that's pretty solid price.
But it's just a matter of expanding kind of the base infrastructure, and you put in foundations that they're built to last, and you can then expand on, right? That's one of the really neat things about kind of open frameworks, is it's like, if we have Gluon and Dexy, and it's like sometimes you don't necessarily need to reinvent the wheel. It's just a matter of adding a new Lego or tweak to what already exists, right? and you can kind of create a new animal, which is awesome.
And my hope for Rosen in the future, at least into Nautilus integration, Joe, is that you provide something that, you know, you provide an open source and a transparent method of on-ramping into any ecosystem or any ecosystem you support. So I'd love to see some sort of payment system integrated into Nautilus that I can then say, where do you want to go once, after this payment clears? Kind of thing. Do you want to go to Ethereum? Do you want to go to Binance? Do you want to go to Doge? Do you want to go to Bitcoin? Do you want to go to Ergo or Cardano or any other chain you support? With just a click of a button, and now I know and I can see the funds traveling and I can watch it and have that security of knowing how it's happening and working all from one little wallet. And as I say a lot, that most of the people in this world are on mobiles anyway, and don't have these desktop experiences or browser plugins that we do. So yeah, I'm really excited for that. Even without the fiat on ramp, just the thought of being able to traverse, because I've used like Trust Wallet in the past and those kind of things, and you want to do swaps there. Who the hell knows what's going on in the background there, right? I don't know where that shit's going. So with Rosen, it's nice. You hit a button, you pop over on Cardano with Rosen Erg, or pop over to Ethereum with Rosen Erg, or that kind of thing. Then you can always double check and see how it's happening, where it's happening, and look at the chain. It shouldn't be a new era, Joe, but it's a new era of transparency.
No, it's something that we definitely can build on and extend, right?
Yeah.
And it opens the door towards like the Rosenfast idea, which is kind of a DeFi centric way to get kind of a faster user experience by pricing kind of the risk premium of speed and the security trade-off, and then giving people some extra yield if they want to provide liquidity. But yeah, a lot of the times I think the lack of transparency in terms of like how this all works is kind of amazing in the crypto space if you really think about it. Like it can be quite difficult to like put together an idea of what the hell is happening, right? And that's kind of like the opposite of this idea of know your assumptions and have an idea like how these things work and how they're put together and what risks you're inheriting. But people don't care. It's something that we try to talk about and focus on because it's really I don't know, foundational to this idea of know your assumptions, but that's not common thinking. Like most people just send it.
Right. Yeah, right. Well, most of the space, can we say most? A lot of the space is just casinos, right? And when you're throwing your money around at casinos, you don't really, I don't know, that kind of transparency isn't a first thing in your mind. You're just thinking about doubling your money or tripling your money, and you don't care where you send it. I mean, greed really like clouds your judgment in that case.
Yeah, maybe worse. I don't like the casino analogy. They're regulated. Like deck has what, 52 cards, right? So like you have set odds, set assumptions. A lot of the times you do not really have that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Lot to build on. That's the beauty of kind of what we've put together. It's the beauty of open source stuff is you put together all these Legos and then you just get people to design, rework, and extend and play.
Is there anything currently on Doge that lets people get off chain and actually utilize their value?
I have not paid any attention to this competition. That's just honest. But I don't know. The space is somewhat like prolific in terms of I don't know. It's like how many endpoints are there? I assume there's a lot because it's essentially a fork of Bitcoin. So it's not like that much more complicated to build on Doge than it is on Bitcoin.
How do you deal with an inflating supply? Doesn't Doge have an inflating supply? They can just mint more, continue to mint.
Yeah. They have I don't know, somewhat of like a long-term declining inflation. It's kind of an interesting.
So you just do that calculation and mint all those at once, kind of thing, as much as possible.
Yeah. You just carrying like a net assumption of
Yeah.
larger supply, but yeah, I have no idea what the competition is, because then it's like, okay, that's great, but then how does it work?
Yeah.
And then I got to dig in and find out how each individual thing works and what the trade-offs are, and sometimes that's not exactly like linear discovery. Sometimes it's more like some kind of archaeological mission that you just hit the point where you're like, I have no idea what the hell's actually happening here. It's like, we're audited, but we aren't going to show the audit because that's a security risk or something. Or I don't know. So sometimes that's just like obfuscated. So I don't even chase it anymore. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like
I gotcha.
that's their problem.
All right, we've got some questions, guys. We did something new this week, and the Sigmanauts posted a form on the website. If you go to the Sigmanauts website, you'll see a form for AMA or live event questions. Essentially, people who might not be able to make it to the AMAs, but they have questions they want to ask, and then they can watch the video later, and hopefully we cover it. So there are 2 questions there right now. Well, there's actually 3. The first question, I'm going to read it because I can't put it on the chat. The question is from Pausch, and the question is, it's for Kushti. How much faster is the chain going to feel with subblocks? I've read that there are some forking issues with subblocks being lower than 60 seconds.
Yeah, sure. There would be a lot of forking for sub-blocks, right? But still, yeah, for blocks, right? So still, we will have blocks and yeah, forking issues. There would be the same or even more rare, right? The costs, yeah, of forking at sub-blocks level. So yeah, when you have a peer-to-peer network which is global, right, and then you have this blockchain, basically a database where you can append a block of data to the database by doing proof of work, right, and people are doing that around the globe. Of course, you have forking, right, if there is a miner in Argentina, for example, and a miner in China, and yeah, well, even ping time from Argentina to China is about 800 milliseconds, at least, I think.